break down effective geriatric communication into its components? Like, what do you mean by effective? Like, it's subjective
Mhm.
anyways.
Yeah,
So,
of course, you are absolutely correct in saying that effective is subjective. Okay. Um, let me uh, let me separate the geriatric part from effective communication, because when you, of course, when you have an effective communication with the elderly group, it becomes geriatric effective communication. Effective communication itself is saying effective, right? There has to be some effect, right? So the effect that you want to have on the relationship that you have with that person, or what you want that person to do, to understand, to perceive, to learn, that effect, there has to be a clear effect when you communicate. That and at the end of this 1 hour, or at the end of this 30 minutes of my consultation with this patient, I want to be able to train him on 3 exercises. Clear effect, that's label, I mean, that's written in my head, or it's written somewhere that this is the effect that I want to have. At the end of 30 minutes, I should be able to attain that. Simple. I mean, maybe I'm giving a too simple example. It's too simplified. But this is what effective communication is. It has to have some effect. Okay. The effect that we desire to have and we are able to achieve, I mean, brilliant. That's how it should be. So every conversation should first be played in our head. We should plan for it, because this is, uh, first of all, I have a different dictionary of words. You have a different dictionary of words. Okay, what you understand from a common word between both of us can be different meanings for both of us. For example, if you have been playing sports all your life, let's take an example, you love badminton. So for you, practice means practicing your sport, right? I was practicing last night. Means you were practicing your sport. If I am a dancer, practice for me means dancing. Or if I am a doctor, practice for me means my entire life. I mean, my entire career is practicing my dentistry, right?
right.
So one word can have different meanings between both of us. In absence of a tool or a way to cross check that the meaning that I wanted to convey has the same, I mean, it is the same meaning that has been conveyed to you. There has to be a mode to check that. Okay, that's what I call grasping. Okay, there's a way to check for grasping. There's a way to check for whether you've understood the same thing that I wanted to convey. Okay, so such things, having these things handy or knowing these things helps in building effective communication. So that's one element of effective communication, that is checking for grasping. Second is being conscious when you're communicating, being present. Okay, that also adds to your effective communication, because you know what effect you wanted to have. And when the communication is going on, you make sure that the communication is not turning into a upward pyramid. Okay, it's not going, I mean, it's not going out of focus. So being present will make sure that once the communication starts to go this way, outside of my effect, I have a way to converge it back to my. Okay, so conscious, being present is the second element. The third element is knowing your choices. Okay, knowing that you have a choice. Every word that you're saying may have two different meanings, and you have a choice on what meaning you want to impose, what kind of feelings you want to give forth, what kind of emotion that you want to generate, especially in cases where the communication is not really, I mean, it's not a positive one. Then you feel that it's getting into a conflicting zone. So that's where you have to know your choices. You have a choice. You have a choice to not respond negatively. You have a choice to pause before you speak. So stuff like that, right? So you know that you have a choice. So knowing your choices is the third element. The fourth element is listening actively. Okay. Now, active listening, there's a lot of misperception around active listening. People feel that just because I'm quiet, I'm listening. Just because the other person is quiet, that person is listening. Just because he's nodding when I'm speaking is listening. No, not that's not exactly what listening actively means. Listening actively means making sure that I am helping you frame your story in the direction that helps both of us. For example, some patients have a habit of giving long stories. You ask for one question and they go, I mean, they will keep revolving around the point, but they may take a lot of time to come to the point, or they may
Right.
sometimes don't even come to the point. So listening actively means you help that person identify what is going on in his head, help him put it into words.
Right.
Okay, by asking questions that will help him think. Okay, now an answer is as good as a question. Okay, how good your question is only defines how good your answer will be, or how
I
good the
love your
answer of
answer.
the other person.
I love
Yeah.
your answer.
So there are ways of asking questions, and it's only that now that I've learned it, I feel so desperate to teach this to everybody. You know that there is a way to do this, and it's so easy that just by shedding your 1% of your ego, you can do so much. But instead, we are busy building walls. We are not busy building windows. I mean, we don't want to build windows. We are too busy looking at